My name is Jason Lightfoot. I work for a company called Future Growth Asset Managers. We're basically an institutional manager managing a whole range of pension funds and retirement funds in excess of about 100 billion rand. I particularly look after the Future Growth Infrastructure and Development Bond Fund, which is basically an SRI vehicle focusing on assets of this nature. So basically toll roads, infrastructural assets, assets with a developmental flavour, as well as various SRI assets as well. I think maybe to start off with, it's probably worthwhile setting the scene and saying that we're all well aware of the South African government's growth plan and the requirement for funding that's obviously required to fund that need. And ultimately, we all have a role to play. I mean, government, the various DFIs, as well as the institutional space as well. But ultimately, we need to play different roles. Ultimately, institutional funders can't provide subsidized financing, whereas DFIs can do that. They can probably provide an enabling environment to obviously upskill the underlying projects, and also obviously maybe provide cheaper capital in that regard. But as asset managers, we need to act as fiduciary to our underlying investors, and basically the reason being is we need to charge the correct risk-adjusted returns for our investors. So as Future Growth, we've been investing in the space for the last 15 years or so, and primarily through the Infrastructure and Development Bond Fund. And as I mentioned, focusing on those types of transactions. We've funded various transactions through the years, from toll roads, ultimately up to chicken farms as well over the last few years. In terms of the space that we play in, we tap the listed market. Not a very exciting market because it's very concentrated, not a lot of diversity, so very much geared towards financial issuance. So therefore we tap the unlisted environment. And I put to structure those transactions and work with the likes of Andrew in that regard, and provide the funding on the back of the sponsors. So one of the transactions we funded recently was Trust for Urban Housing Finance. It's a DFI basically providing mortgage-backed financing in the inner city of Joburg. Basically, guys who go and refurbish these apartment blocks and then rent them out to the market. And it's really a great story. And those are the types of deals we've currently been working on. We're also quite active in the renewable energy space, toll roads, and obviously transport infrastructure as well. So these are the sort of deals we currently are working on at the moment. As I mentioned previously, I primarily focus on the South African market. Essentially, there's no real shortage of funds or actual deals as such. I think the key concern is having a proper delivery mechanism to meet those. And ultimately, I think the way it can potentially be done is through empowering or further empowering various agencies and the likes of the DFIs. Basically, government needs to sort things out and get a proper organisation right in terms of bringing that to the fore. People think that SRI is an asset class as well. It isn't. I mean, it ties in with the idea that it fits in across all realms. You get Sharia-compliant funds, SRI debt funds, so it's actually across all asset classes. In terms of appetite for those types of transactions, I mean, I agree in respect of the investors will probably be more happy with less riskier deals in Africa as opposed to the more riskier deals, and that will obviously garner the appetite and build up a track record. And from our point of view, we're managing retirement funds and pension funds, so ultimately we want to ensure that we get the best deal firstly for our clients, and ultimately that their capital is protected. So on my point of view is, sure, you can build in a whole lot of different covenants and the like, but ultimately the key thing is alignment of interest. The capital that you're putting, is it your own? Are you gearing it? If you're gearing it, then I'm not going to play.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.